Welcome to the Vigorous Q&A. I'm Coach Steve, here to answer all your bodybuilding related questions. Today's question is from Dr. Vickery. How to decrease C-reactive protein associated with injecting synthetic carrier oils. Somebody's been following along. Many steroids like Masteron and Boldenone don't come in pharmaceutical grade. In other words, how can I use synthetic carrier oils with minimum damage in terms of duration and the amount and supplements required? All right, so if you really care about your health, well, he's a doctor, right? I think he's a doctor. That's what the DR stands for. All right. If you really care about your health like I do, you don't use these synthetic carrier oils. You just dismiss it, you know? People ask you, hey, you want to try this brand? No, thanks. I don't want that poison in my body, yeah? C-reactive protein elevation, the longer you have elevated C-reactive protein, the longer or the more you're risking cardiovascular disease. And then you take steroids that alter your lipid levels, your HDL go down, your LDL goes up, your total cholesterol might go up, your blood acidity might change, increasing calcium levels. And then the C-reactive protein is just going to turn all of that into cardiovascular disease or plaque buildup. So why take the risk? The only reason why you would want to take personally, I don't think so, but some people are still like this. The only way they can redeem the possible health ramifications of synthetic carrier oil is pre-contest. Yeah? So you diet all the way to 6% body fat at 6 weeks out, and then you add in the synthetic carrier oils, the underground labs, the Trenbolone, the Masteron, the Boldenone. 6 weeks, it's enough to get the cosmetic effect, and it's the shortest possible duration you're on this synthetic carrier oil, minimizing the duration and the negative impact of the elevated C-reactive protein. Yeah? I would still advise against that, because the closer you are to contest prep, the more skewed your lipids are going to be. Now, your blood acidity should still be okay. You know, you're drinking a lot of water, getting a decent amount of minerals. It shouldn't be too bad, but your LDL was going to be elevated. There's no way around it. You know, that's part of contest prep. All the androgenic compounds, the Winstrol, the Trenbolone, the Masteron, it's all going to increase your LDL levels. And when you're on toxic synthetic carrier oils, you know, and the C-reactive protein goes higher and higher and higher, it damages the inside of your arteries, and now these LDL foam cells and the calcium can get stuck, creating plaque. And you might not see that within one cycle, but after 5 years of doing that frequently, yeah, your calcium score and you know, the MRI results are not going to be, you're going to feel a little bit sick about yourself. And I've seen that happen quite a lot. You know, so Steve, what happened? And you see the C-reactive protein, 10, 20, 50 milligrams per liter, and it's the oil, buddy. And you've been using it for years, and now you got plaque buildup. You know, your calcium score is in the hundreds. Self-induced. You know, unfortunately, not everybody knows about this. That's why I brought it to the forefront, and that's why I'm so much a proponent in talking about it. And in the US and Europe, it's not really a big problem. But all the underground labs that are produced here in Asia, or that are available in Asia, they all use this synthetic carrier oil. And even arachi's oil, or refined peanut oil, which is used in Sustanon or Nandrolone by some of the pharmaceutical companies, even that causes an inflammatory response. So that's why I always tell everybody just to keep checking their C-reactive protein, because even some of the pharmaceutical grade products, or even with ethyl oleate, some of them got FDA approved here in Asia, they can increase your inflammatory markers, and that could lead to plaque buildup. So I would tell everybody just to stay away, and the only way you would probably want to use it if you're doing a contest prep. And if you're not doing a contest prep, there's nothing on the line, there's no pro card to win, no prize money, no reputation to uphold, don't use it. Just don't use it. Respect your body, love your body. It's going to be with you for hopefully 100 years. Don't abuse it. You know, set a couple guidelines and a couple rules for yourself. You know, just because all the drugs are out there doesn't mean you have to take them. You know, that's your choice. You can make it a choice. Just because it's available doesn't mean you have to take it. So the way you reduce inflammation, Curcumin Phytosomes is able to reduce inflammation. It's a curcumin and turmeric extract, which actually helps to reduce inflammation. So let's say your C-reactive protein was 20 because you're taking 5 to 10 milliliters of synthetic carrier oil. your C-reactive protein is 20 milligrams per liter, using, let's say, 400 to 1,000 milligrams of curcumin phytosomes per day, maybe 1,200 milligrams, depending. Some tablets are 400 milligrams, some 500, right? So anything between 400 and 1,200 milligrams of curcumin phytosomes per day, with the Mariva extract and pepperine to increase bioavailability and absorption, that should probably halve your C-reactive protein levels. So it's still going to be 10. Yeah, you go from 20, C-reactive protein of 20, to C-reactive protein of 10. Still twice out of range, because the maximum range is 5 milligrams per liter. So you're double out of range. So let's say you see your cholesterol levels. Right? The maximum is 200 milligrams per milliliter. And let's say you see your cholesterol levels 400. You would freak out, right? But somehow, because the number is higher, you associate that with negative health ramifications. But a C-reactive protein from 5 to 10, so yeah, it's only 5. But it's a 200% increase. So when you go from 5 to 50, you got a serious problem going on. Now, I prefer to keep my C-reactive protein below 1. So I only use pharmaceutical-grade compounds. And that means I'm limited to Test and Primo, and the nandrolone that's available is in arachi's oil. So I don't use it. And not that I need it. Primo gives me plenty of joint benefits. So Test and Primo, that's the only injectables I use. And I would use a testosterone suspension or a Winsol suspension, but only if it's pharmaceutical grade, because I don't want to risk infection. And so these are my guidelines, my rules. I'm able to build a pretty decent body on Test and Primo alone. And otherwise, I'd prefer, honestly, I prefer to take a ton of orals with liver support than inject toxic synthetic carrier oils, because I know the liver will regenerate with TUDCA and NAC and vitamin E and a decent amount of fiber, and maybe glutamine to keep my stomach lining intact. I'd rather risk that for 6 weeks than inject this synthetic shit. Really. Really. Because I know the liver will regenerate and plaque buildup. I mean, you're looking at stents or bypass surgery or, maybe vitamin K is able to reduce it, but it's not always the case. Once the plaque is there, it's there. You need surgery to remove it, or a stent, a little mesh to kind of open up the arteries again and create normal blood flow. So smoking, drinking, synthetic carrier oils all increase C-reactive protein levels. Some of the recreational drugs do as well, so I would use it sparingly. Just use it sparingly, and then the rest of the time you focus on your health and make sure that everything you put in your body is of the utmost highest quality. And if that means it's expensive and you have a limited supply or a limited budget for it, right, too bad. You're not going to use that much. And just for reference, this is 250 Test and 200 Primo. Yeah? I'm 105 kilos. It's more than enough. It's more than enough to maintain size and strength. Yeah, and maybe you use a little bit more pharmaceutical testosterone to build the strength and to build the size, but you don't need much to maintain it, And you spread your money out for pharmaceutical grade when you do want to do a Cantos spread. So it's I wouldn't play with your health, and the amount of supplements that you can take to lower inflammation are not going to be sufficient to mitigate the side effects of the synthetic carrier oils. It's just not strong enough. Trust me, I've seen so much blood work on this that there's no way around it besides not taking underground labs with synthetic carrier oil. And not all underground labs are bad. I mean, in the Western world and in the States especially, they use grapeseed oil or MCT oil. These guys at least know what they're doing, besides the sterility and the dosing issues, but at least the carrier oil is normal. They don't use ethyl oleate, they don't use propylene glycol, miglyol, glycol, motor oil. I don't know what people use nowadays, but it's at least those underground labs in the Western world are a little bit smarter than what they're doing over here in Asia. So I hope that wraps it up. Hope that answers your question. If you absolutely have to use it, 6 weeks, Curcumin Phytosomes. That's the only way to kind of undo or minimize the damage. But I prefer not to use it. I hope that answers the question. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.